mark this year's May Day, the Victorian Trades Hall Council organised a range of events and activities for all working people and their families.
May Day to me, it's like a holy day of obligation. Looking back at another year and seeing what's happened over the past year, what we've got for the year ahead, and connecting with people. And more important to me than the May Day March itself is that connection I have with workers from all around Victoria who come to Melbourne, and also with people in other campaigns and other cities.
May Day will always be significant for working people. It's not just a trade union day, and it's not just a radical day, it's a working class day. It's for all working people to sum up where they've been, what the gains they've made, the losses they've made, and more importantly, what they're going to do for the future.
A day for workers to feel that they've got their friends around them and there's solidarity there and all of that sort of stuff.
It's certainly the only real workers' day of the year. I mean, we have public holidays and celebrations for the Queen, and we have public holidays and celebrations for those glorious wars, and we have lots of celebrations for races and other sporting events, but there's not really a workers' day other than May the 1st on the calendars.
Look, for me it's just a traditional day in the workers' calendar that we celebrate. Obviously we're centred around the struggle for shorter hours, but I think today it's been broadened into a day when we remember workers' struggles all over the world. It's very much a day of internationalism for me, a day of workers' rights, of struggle, solidarity and of socialism, and I think that's why we've got to keep the tradition of May Day going and try our best to connect the traditions of May Day with young people. That's got to be the name of the game.
May Day in some strange way the history goes right back to where we are at Trades Hall in Victoria, because in the 1850s in Victoria, as probably most viewers will be aware, we won the 8-hour day, and that was in April, late April. So that 8-hour day, as you know, for example, a monument across the road's got a globe on top of it, is always designated as an international day, an international victory, never just for the people of Victoria, Australia. And so around the world, on the back of the 8-hour day, people were agitating for, you know, a workers' public holiday and for an 8-hour day.
This agitation culminated in a nationwide strike in the United States on the 1st of May 1886. A few days later, a strike held by workers at the Haymarket of Chicago was to become an historic event. Rumour has it that someone from inside the crowd threw a Molotov at the police lines, and the police opened fire on the crowd, shooting 4 workers. So it was a major, I guess, a flashpoint internationally, and you know the role the United States plays internationally. It was decided to celebrate the next year May Day as an International Workers' Day to commemorate the deaths of the workers protesting in Chicago the year before. In 1890, it was declared to go on in perpetuity as an International Workers' Day.
And then it gradually became an international day for Labor to celebrate the fact that the world gets made by the hand and brain of working people. Yeah. And to say this is what it's all about, that without any of that, the wheels just ain't going to turn.
Some of the issues raised at this year's May Day were the current industrial relations laws and the possible effects of the global financial crisis on working Australians.
People are recognising the fundamental problems that the globe faces, both in terms of economic crisis, in terms of the future of the planet, and in terms of the fact that there seems to be smaller numbers of people getting richer and richer and larger numbers of people getting poorer and poorer. And people sense that there's something wrong, and in a sense May Day bringing people together around some demands for the future, for a better society, I think encourages them to come.
At the moment we've got new industrial relations legislation passed through the federal parliament after 2 years since John Howard's gone. Let me tell you very quickly my assessment of that legislation. That legislation isn't good enough. It does not replace work choices as was promised at the last 2007 federal election. It needs to be improved even more, and that's why working people have to keep rallying and keep fighting. More so than ever before now, because the global financial crisis is impacting on working people. They're losing jobs every day, they're losing wages and conditions every day, They're under threat.
We haven't seen the full extent of the economic crisis yet here in Australia. I think the worst is yet to come. And I think the challenge for the trade union movement right in the here and now, and as we reflect on May Day today, is to start to prepare ourselves and prepare our movement for the worst that's yet to come, and to make sure that it's not working people that are forced to pay the price. That's the challenge, and that's something that we should be really be the focus of today, I think.
Historically, May Day in Australia has also been used as a platform to highlight international causes, and this was the case once again this year.
May Day is in continual change. All right, from back in the 1890s, it was a response to the Haymarket massacre. And I remember May Day marches that focused on apartheid in South Africa. I remember May Day marches focused on the anti-nuclear issue and the issues of the Cold War. We are an international movement, and Sri Lankan people and lower class, i.e. worker in Sri Lanka, are being oppressed incredibly at the moment by the Sri Lankan government. So the Sri Lankan people have come to the Australian left, various trade unions and other left organisations seeking our support. Having them march in the May Day march was a way, A, of educating other workers in Australia by having them included in the march, and B, showing our support. May Day is our day, and so how it changes reflects the changes in the mood of the workers' movement and the left. It's true that in days gone by, May Day marches used to be big celebrations, used to be a lot larger than they are now, and over, I guess, up until a few years ago, they were dwindling into smaller and smaller numbers. Those numbers are now building up again as people recognise May Day as our day. And in 10 years' time, May Day might be huge, May Day might be small, but what it will be doing will be reacting to, speaking to, the struggles that are current in the Australian workers' movement in 2020.